Everyone. Welcome to another session of Love, Serve, Grow. We're so glad you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about having a positive working atmosphere. And so let's just go ahead and get started. I'm taking it from a lot of this information from this book right here, The Magic of Thinking Big. And Lisa, I think you and I did a series with this book. I did. Kay, were you in on that? I don't remember, but it is an excellent book. And one of the later chapters in this book is what we're going to be talking about later today. The author's name is David J. Schwartz. He's a PhD. Again, the name of it is The Magic of Thinking Big. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. He talks about 3 attitudes that we need to have as business owners and as people, as human beings. So, okay, the 3 attitudes that we have to have in order to have a good, strong, healthy business. I'm going to give the 3 to you, and then we're going to go into detail in each one of those 3. The first one is to have an attitude of I'm activated. And I read that at first. I thought, what does he mean, I'm activated? So I actually had to look it up. Even though I know what activated means, I wanted to know how it applied in this situation. And so the author said that it means engaging. I want to be an engaging person in my business. Pursuing excellence vigorously. And you can ask yourselves questions. What am I going to do to pursue excellence vigorously? There are a lot of ways. How am I going to be engaged? The next one is lively activity. In other words, it's not passive sitting back activity, watching everything happen. We're involved. We are being active, alert, participating and engaged in a positive or spontaneous way. Okay, that is I'm activated. The next one is to grow an attitude of you are important. And I'm not talking about you. I'm saying we have that attitude toward others, even though you are important. But that's the attitude we need to have. We need to get outside ourselves and get into the others' realms. And we're going to talk about that and exactly what that means. And the third one is to grow an attitude of service first. There's no way that we can have a successful business without service. And that is where customer care comes in. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about what does it mean to be activated and how can we activate others? That's the real clincher right there. So to activate others, we have to get them to be enthusiastic, right? Well, how do we get them to be enthusiastic if we ourselves aren't enthusiastic? So we really need to think about what we're portraying. And if we lack enthusiasm in our business and what we're doing, we cannot develop it in another. If we're enthusiastic, we will soon have enthusiastic followers. Do you want enthusiastic followers? I do. And you might be sitting there thinking, but I'm not an extrovert. I'm not that kind of person. And it makes me think of Brooke Hemingway. If any of you know Brooke Hemingway, you know that she is the introvert of all introverts, right, Lisa? She talks about it. And she is double diamond, I don't know, maybe on her way to triple already. She is at the very top of our company. And she's an introvert. So not being an extrovert is not an excuse here. Okay, so he gives a 3-step procedure that will help us, I should say, to develop the power of enthusiasm. All right, so I'm going to give you 3 steps. The first one is to dig into it deeper, whatever it is, whatever you feel you need to be more enthusiastic about. Let's say you're all pretty unenthusiastic about bumblebees. But if we studied bumblebees and we found out how amazing they are and how they relate to other bumblebees and other types of bees, how they reproduce, you guys, where they live in winter, all those things. If we find out those things about bumblebees, we're soon going to get really interested and enthused about bumblebees. I remember my friends were talking about the New England Patriots. And I mean, I'm not a football fan. I don't pay attention. I don't have my favorite team or anything. But I found out there was a player, I cannot remember his name now. I used to know it very well. And I learned some things about his family. All of a sudden, guess what? I became an avid New England Patriot fan, only because of this one player on the team that I knew. I didn't know him. I learned some things about him and his wife and his children. And all of a sudden I was a fan. So you can become more enthusiastic about what it is that maybe you're dreading or not really enjoying that much. And sometimes our business gets a little bit overwhelming. These are just some things that we can do to counteract that. He talked about us mixing with people in a new environment. All right, now all of us here on this page that I'm looking at, all those beautiful faces. Hello, Jesse. I'm glad you were able to join us. And you're Jay Pauline, right?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to clear that up because I never knew what to call you, Jay or Pauline.
Jesse's fine. Yeah.
What do you go by, Jesse?
Jesse.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, we don't really know each other, a lot of us here. You might think, well, I really don't know these ladies. Well, most of us don't know everybody here either. And so I am just so excited to have this group where we can mix together, and it's a new environment for all of us. And we can make ourselves feel and think like a community from the very first day in this group. And so if we put this principle to work, we must do something that we don't want to do, right? Okay, sometimes it's hard to step out and be the quote new person. So when we find ourselves being bored also, what we need to do is dig in, stir up some interest for ourselves, find out about each other in this group. What is it that makes them tick? What are their fears? What are their joys? Let's get to know each other. And that's why I just think it's so neat that we're getting together like this. And we're seeing Rachel's sweet little girl there. So we know from looking at that you have at least one daughter. And it just makes you seem like a more real person. And I really want us to get engaged with each other and really open up. This is supposed to be a safe place, all right, where you can just come and just be who you are. So the next thing, number 2, is to, in everything you do, he says, and you guys that just came late, we're talking about this book right here. He says that in everything we do, to life it up. Life it up. And I read that and I thought, is that a typo? Doesn't he mean live it up? And the more I read, the more I realized, no, it is not live it up. It is life it up. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm or lack of it shows through, ladies, in everything we do. Everything. Everything right down to a handshake. Life up your handshake. Even though we're women, we can have a good, firm, strong handshake. Did you know that? So make your hand clasp say, I am glad to know you. And I can't wait to see you again. Have you ever shaken hands? I want to raise a hand here. Raise your hand if you have ever shaken hands with someone who has a noodle handshake. One of my daughters brought home a guy like that one time, and he shook my hand and it was like, oh, she ended up not marrying him. But I mean, a limp handshake, ladies, is worse than no handshake at all. So, and teach your boys how to do that. Rachel, I know you have sons. Emily, you've got Ollie. Okay, teach Ollie how to give a good, firm handshake. It's so important. We're judged by that, by people who don't know us. And it makes them think, this girl or this guy, if it's a limp handshake, he's more dead than alive. It speaks volumes. So try to find, it's like, I challenge you all, try to find yourself a successful person with a weak handshake. You will not find it. You just won't. Okay, the next one is smile. Life up your smiles. If we want to attract people to our business, we need to really smile, not any half-hearted smile. Life up your smiles, he says. Smile with your eyes. Nobody likes an artificial, pasted on, rubbery smile. We just, we're repelled by that. So when we smile, let's smile. Let's show our teeth. And you're thinking, well, maybe your teeth, maybe you feel like your teeth aren't that attractive. I used to have a chipped tooth. I grew up from 3rd grade through my senior year in high school with a chipped tooth. And I was very self-conscious of it. But people always told me, no, Michelle, that's you. That's just who you are. And we don't even see that. So I learned to smile in spite of it. And, really, that's not what people are looking at. They're seeing us. They see a warm, enthusiastic personality, someone that they like. So let's smile. And if you're not one who smiles a lot, just be conscious of it and work on it and really try to make yourself smile. A smile can be seen. I mean, we've been wearing masks. I don't have a mask, but right here, that's one of the sad things, is that our faces have been covered up from each other. And with a mask, it's often hard to tell. But you should, can you tell that I'm smiling? You can smile with your eyes. You can't help it. So let's all work on our smiles. Also, our thank yous. And this is thank you to our customers. Thank you to our sidelines. Thank you to our potentials. Be a person that is generous with your thank yous. Life up your thank yous, Schwartz says. A routine thank you is almost like hearing it from Charlie Brown's teacher. Do you all remember how she talked? Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. I don't want to give a thank you like that. It says nothing, really. Make your thank you mean thank you, like thank you very much. Thank you for the gift. Have you gotten cards like that before, where it just says, thank you for the gift? And then it's, love, their name. And it's nice that we get a thank you card, but I love getting those thank you cards that say, thank you for that beautiful bowl. It matches my dinnerware perfectly. How did you know? Versus, like I said, thank you for the gift. Which one makes you feel better? So I just got a thank you last night, you guys, from a level 2 who I had been working with because my level 1 was not able to work with her. She actually sent me a message and she said, thank you for all the work that you've put into sending me those weekly protocols and Plexus 101s. She said, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And I mean, I don't even know how many customers I've had. I have probably 200 in my back office. Not all of them are active, but I mean, I've been through a lot of those with people. She's the only one I can think of that ever expressed her gratitude that much toward receive, other than the one that came back because, anyway, that story. She said, if I'd have had this before, I wouldn't have left. That was a different one. But anyway, it made me happy. It just really made my day. So another thing he says that we need to do, Schwartz says, is to life up our talk. What does that mean? Life up your talk. Is your good morning, when you say good morning to someone, is it really good? Is your congratulations really good? Is it enthusiastic? How about your, how are you? Does it really sound interesting, like you're interested, or does it sound like, oh, you're just asking, you really don't want an answer? When we make a habit of coloring our words with sincere feelings, ladies, we're going to notice an uptake in our ability to hold people's attention. If you believe it, people are more inclined to go along with that because they're saying it with life. They're putting vitality into their speaking, and it puts enthusiasm behind what you say. And that is what attracts people. Let's all say it out loud. I want us to all say it, and you don't have to unmute yourselves, but say it with force and vigor. Maybe you should unmute yourselves. That'll make it more fun. Everybody unmute. I'm going to have you say something as soon as I see everybody's unmuted. Oh, hearing all that background noise now. Hear all the kiddos. That's great. Okay, let's all say it together. This is what I want us to say. You're going to say, I feel great today.
Feel great today.
That's so cute. Okay. At the count of 3, I want you to say, I feel great today. 1, 2, 3.
I feel great today.
Say it like you really mean it.
I feel
I
great
feel
today.
But don't you actually feel better now that you've said it? Think about that. Make yourself live all over just by the words you speak. Be sure that everything you do and say tells people she's alive. She means it. She is going places. And again, if you came in late, we're not talking about extroverts, because we mentioned Brooke Hemingway, top diamond in our company. She is the introvert of all introverts. So it doesn't have to do with that. Introverts can still be happy people, okay? And they can still express enthusiasm in their quiet way. You don't have to be loud and obnoxious. And then another thing he says is broadcast good news. We hear so much bad news. We are in a time of very bad news, and we need to be one that shares the good news. When someone bursts into a room, think about it, and they say, oh, I've got good news. What happens? Immediately, this person gets 100% of the attention from everyone who's in the room. Good news does more to get attention. Good news pleases people. Good news makes people happy. Good news develops enthusiasm. And do you know that good news even promotes good digestion? I didn't know that. So anyway, that means bad news probably doesn't. So don't turn on the TV. But just because there are more broadcasters of bad news out there than there are broadcasters of good news, don't be misled. Don't be pulled into it. Make it a habit always to speak favorably, you guys, about the weather. How many people do you hear that complains about the weather? Regardless of what it is, it might be too hot, it might be too cold, it might be too windy, whatever. You know, we complain, and I'm guilty too. Complaining about the weather makes us more miserable, and it spreads misery to others. Think about that. Do we really want to do that? We can find something good about every kind of weather. We had a lot of snow this year. Well, people were complaining about the snow, but the positive side is our farmers are now going to have water to irrigate their fields. Do you see what I'm saying? So anyway, broadcast good news about how you feel. Be an I feel great person. I'm going to say that again. Be an I feel great person. Just say, I feel great, at every possible opportunity, and you will feel better. By the same token, tell people, I feel awful. You're going to feel awful. You're going to feel worse. How we feel is in very large part, determined by how we think we feel. That thinking part of our brain can get us into so much trouble. Other people want to be around alive, enthusiastic people. Being around complainers and half-dead people is very uncomfortable. So spread some good news out there, spread some sunshine every day. That's the kind of people we need to be, especially those of us who want to attract people to our business. So transmit good news to people you work with. That's us. That's each other. Oh, I see Sherry. Is that Sherry? Hi, what are you doing with Sherry? Wow. Awesome. I'm so glad you two are together.
She picked me up from my mother-in-law's today and brought me over to her house. We just got here.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, both of you.
The only problem was I got lost. I don't know how many times. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well,
But I feel great today. I want you to know.
good, even though things went south.
Yeah, they did.
Well,
And
see,
north. And east and west.
the positive side of that is you now have a story to tell.
I have a story.
He
Yes.
and I have a lot of stories about getting lost together. Anyway, okay, ladies, so let's just give encouragement. Compliment is another thing he talks about. Complimenting genuinely, not fake flattery, but genuinely at every opportunity. And don't compliment people just on their appearance, but on the deeper things of their person, right? Tell them the positive things that our company is doing. Really listen. Just listen to people. Be a good listener. Talk less, listen more. And don't keep talking about yourself. You know, people love to talk about themselves. They don't want to hear about us. So get people to talk about themselves. Be helpful. And I know all of you are. When we were praying today, Alicia's team had a little prayer meeting, just praying for the last day of the month and all the chaos. And we were praying for all of you. So Pam, I think you were there. We did a blanket prayer over everybody with all that's going on, because we know how stressful this last day can be. And while we were praying, my phone dinged, and I wanted to answer it because I have people that are depending on me and they're bringing people in. And so we're praying, and I opened my eye and looked and it was not one of my people, but it was a sideline. And I'm thinking, oh, she needed something. And I said, as I read that, well, I'm praying, I can't help you. Reminded myself of the Good Samaritan, right? The other people that passed him. And as I was just telling myself, well, I'm praying, I can't help her. Somebody else will come along and help her. And, and then the Lord convicted me. And you know that verse in 1 John that says, whoever, has what you need or something, you see your brother in need, but you have no compassion for him. How does the love of God live in him or her? And I was in a quandary. It's like, oh, she needs me, but I'm supposed to be praying. Lord, what do I do? The Lord said, stop praying and go help her. And so I did. And the others just kept on praying while I was trying to find out what it was that she needed. And so it was just kind of a neat little thing. And I felt really good about it. I wouldn't have felt good about myself if I had not helped her when I had the capability to help her. So be an encourager of people, and you all are. You're so good at this. I love that about each and every one of you. Pat them on the back. And I'm not talking, we do that with each other all the time, but I'm thinking anybody and everybody in your life that's out there, pat them on the back for the good job they're doing. Give them hope. Let them know that you believe they can succeed, that you have faith in them. And just be a person that goes around and relieves people of their worries. All right. And whenever you leave a person, ask yourself this question. Does that person feel better because he has talked with me, or does he feel worse? I have to tell you the story of a president of a manufacturing company that was in this book. The author talks about him, and he had a maxim framed on his desk that when people would come in, the visitors, they would see this thing there that said, "Give me a good word or none at all." And so the author said, "Oh, I really like that. You know, that's a clever way to encourage people to be optimistic. Give me a good word." It's like Bambi's mom. If you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, right? And so the president smiled, and he turned the frame around so that the author of this book could see from the other side of the desk. And it said, "Give them a good word or none at all." And so that was his motto. You give me a good word and I will give you a good word. We're going to build each other up. And you can still offer correction in a good way, because that's a good word too, right? If it's done correctly. So anyway, broadcasting good news activates you guys, and it makes you better. And so then the next thing he said was, grow the "you are important" attitude. You are important. We talked about that in the beginning, and I said we were going to go into more detail with that. It's not you are important. It's not like I'm important, but you, all those people out there, they are important. Do you know that if any one of you, and any one of you here that I'm looking at, if you were in a plane and it went down in the mountains, do you realize that just because you're a human being, they're going to spend thousands of dollars trying to find you and hundreds of man hours? Because why? Because you're a human being. Yet we lose sight of that when we're next to others in the supermarket, don't we? It's like, as a person. But we need to get that mindset that they are important. We need to remember that each one is important. We're so important that Jesus spread out his arms and he died for us. And when we see people out there in the world, a lot of them are walking around with heartaches and worries and fears. And sometimes it just takes a little smile or a kind word. They're hungry for that. So let's be that kind of person. And we don't know what God will do with that. I know that's how Pam and Cassandra met. And they were just two women shopping for shampoo, I think, in the aisle. And they just started chatting, and now we have Emily here because of that relationship. So just be a person that really takes note of the people around you. And then practice appreciation. He says, make it a rule to let others know you appreciate what they do for you. Never let anyone feel he is taken for granted. I want you guys to know you are appreciated in my life, every single one of you. And I see now that Jesse has a dog. See, this is what's so cool about us coming together. We know, we learn different parts of each other's lives. And he's a cutie, or is it a she?
It's a girl. Her name is Molly.
Molly. Well, she's precious. I'm glad she peeked in and said hi. Are we going to get Jack today, Lisa? Yes. Hello there, Jack. It's good to see you. We want to see you at least once. So yeah, anyway, just show appreciation for even your customers, even your potentials. Find ways to say thank you for whatever you can. Never let them feel like they're, especially your downlines, that they're taken for granted. And how do we express it? Well, with warm, sincere smiles is one way. Smiles let others know that you notice them and that you feel, that you feel kindly toward them. Practice letting others know how you depend on them. We depend on each other. We think we don't, like, oh no, I don't need anybody. Yes, we do. So, and say little things like, I don't know what we'd do without you. And I don't know what we would do without you. Without each one of you, you all bring something new and different to our team. And each one has been handpicked and placed here by God. And so, we just need to speak that to one another. And don't feel that you need to hand out praise only for big accomplishments. All right. Compliment people on little things, the way they do their routine work, the way they keep plugging along and don't get discouraged when things don't move. Praise them for their ideas, for their loyalty, whatever you can find. And we talk a lot about doing shout outs for each other. You can do a shout out for a sideline anytime you want and tag that person. It blesses them and it enhances their reputation in the eyes of others as well. So write personal notes. We talk about that a lot. That handwritten note thing is so important that most of us don't do anymore. And just know that whether a person is a garbage collector or a company president, they are equally important to us. Treating someone as a second-class citizen never bodes well for us at all. So the next thing, I've lost track of the numbers here, but practice calling people by their names. Do you know we love to hear our names spoken? But if you're going to call them by their name, please make sure that you pronounce it correctly, because that can be that not hearing it pronounced correctly can be, and he talks about this in here, how it can be a real set them off, so make sure. And even spelling their name, and I'm one who's had my name misspelled my whole life. Everybody gives me 2 L's. I can vouch for what he says here in this book, because if they give me 2 L's, I think, well, they don't know me that well, or whatever. But if they go to the trouble to put 1 L on my name, I know they really looked at my name and they thought about it and they were careful with it, and they gave me 1 L. And when I go to conventions or different things, and you stand at the table and you get your little name tag, that's the first thing I always look at. Did they give me 1 L or 2? And if they gave me 1 L, I think these are quality people. They are paying attention to details. If I get 2 L's, it's like, okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. Names are important. Oh, okay, the last one is putting service first. Have a putting service first attitude. So once criticized for urging people to make money. People are like, oh, I'm making money. Oh, that's terrible. That's not good. But he talks about a person in here as a pastor, and he said that money printed the Bible. It took money to print the Bible. Money builds our churches. Our churches run on money. Money sends our missionaries to the uttermost parts of the world, and money pays for our preachers. Money pays for Tom Tebow's Cure Hospital. I don't know if you know about that, but that hospital is in the Philippines. I went there and visited it in person, and I asked about the funding, and they said it's coming all the way from generous Americans. Going into that, he talks about how do we get that money? Service to our fellow human beings. We all are in a world of service. Wherever we go, we are being served. And he tells the story of an attendant at a filling station who walked around to the other side of his car and said, "Pardon me, sir." He said, "It's been a dusty day. Let me clean the inside of your windshield." What would you do? I mean, he looked at him in shock. And he said that he did a thorough job, And he said, not one service station attendant in 100 ever does that. I wish we had a service station attendant. We don't have those anymore. I remember the good old days, but anyway, this book must have been written quite a few years ago. But anyway, he said that kid went the extra mile. And he said, because he went that extra mile, he said every time, he was a traveling man, traveled to speak a lot. And he said that every time he went by there, he stopped at that little gas station because of that extra act of kindness that gas station attendant gave to him. There was a quote that I always had up in my classroom when I was a teacher, and it said this, and I think you're all going to want to write it down. You might already know it, but it's this: it's be kinder than necessary, for everyone you meet is going through some kind of battle. It doesn't say just be kind, be kinder than necessary. And that attendant exemplified that quote. And each time the author passed that station, again, like I said, he was stopping. He was going to stop, wasn't going to go right past it. So, and he said in here that the attendant, he could have thought, this guy is from out of state. Odds are he'll never be back. He's only a one-time customer. I don't need to give him this routine treatment. But he didn't. He did it anyway. And the station put service first. And that's what we need to do in our businesses. Service is so critical. And another quote I want to leave you with today is, what do we live for if not to make life less difficult for others? I had that in my classroom too. That was a quote that I drilled into those kids every day. They might not have learned anything else from me, but they did learn. If you see someone struggling, don't sit there and watch, but you help them. So I'm going to say it again, and I want you to pay attention because it says not less difficult. What do we live for if not to make life less difficult for others? Not easier for others, less difficult. If we see someone struggling with groceries, let's run ahead of them and open the door for them. There are just so many little things. Even someone in your house might be struggling. Teach your kids to have an eye for that, to watch, always be thinking, how can I make life less difficult in this situation? And it's always by, giving more than what's expected, just like that gas station attendant. That's the way God loves us, isn't it? Until our cup runs over. Every little extra something we do for others, ladies, is a seed. Giving our customers extra service that they deserve because they trusted us, that's a seed. And let's ask ourselves each day, how can I give more than what is expected of me? Now, granted, we're individual, we're humans, and we can't do everything for everybody, but we just need to be in tune and when we do something, go the extra mile, do it a little better than what is really expected. You know what I'm saying? If we put service first, ladies, money takes care of itself. And he says that throughout that chapter. Don't be worried about money or how much you're going to make or how much, or you're not going to make, or, oh dear, you just get busy serving others. And he says the money will take care of itself. So the three things we started out with in the beginning, and this is the end: be activated. That means energetic. All the list. I don't know if you wrote them down. I can give them to you again. Have a you are important attitude, and have an attitude of service first. Any questions? Any comments? Takeaways?
Yeah, I want to shout out to Jessie, my girl, our girl. She just went silver today. Yay!
Jessie! And you've been sitting there with just like Not like you're so humble. Oh, that's so sweet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You made her graphic yet, Lisa?
No, I haven't. No.
Can't wait to see it.
No.
That's so neat. Pam last night went senior silver.
Yay.
Very exciting. And we're happy about that. Yes. And boy, what else? I know that we've lost some people, but Kay and Emily have been working like crazy, those girls. So I know the harvest is coming. You know how it is? You just have to keep at it, huh? And serve the ones we have.
Michelle, I've been in an accountability group since October.
You have.
Mhm. And there's been some pretty serious illness in me a couple of times in that time period as well. And you just have to, even though you don't feel like it, you still have to show up. You know, your posts don't have to reflect that you're not feeling very good. It's really hard to push through those times. I mean, there were a couple of days that just didn't happen because it was pretty serious. You yourself know that.
I do. Yes.
But that's one of my biggest hurdles, is doing it even though I don't feel like it.
Mm. Does anyone else struggle with that? Yeah, me too. Yeah, and you just have to do it robotically. It doesn't have to be fancy, but if it's your day to post on whatever and you haven't, just find something. Where do we find things to post when you don't, maybe you're not feeling that well, and it's like, I've been there. I don't even know what to post, but I've got to post because it's our business. It's not something that we do just for the fun of it. It is our business, and that's how we attract friends and with followers, and they see our stuff. And if we go away, then we're gonna have to build up our audience again. So it's just
It's like our storefront. You know, when you walk by the
Right.
windows of the stores, it would be like, you know, Dutch Brothers taking down their blue windmill sign.
right, exactly.
You know, or no mannequins in the stores as you walk by them, or the mannequins being naked.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that, because you're right. It is our storefront. And we just have to make an appearance. And I was struggling the other day really bad, and a friend shared with me a video. In fact, I think Sherry commented on it. I think Kay did, about the lambs, the sheep. You don't know how hard I struggled to find that. It's like, I got to do something. I got to keep my storefront open. What am I doing? You know, and it wasn't even about Plexus, but I just had to show up. And I pulled that out of the air because someone shared it with me, and I thought, well, that's it. And I got some good follow-up on that. Another thing, you guys, that again, it's not a Plexus post, but it gained a lot of momentum. 100 and I don't remember, well over 100 comments on that one about what did you want to do when you grew up, when you were little. Did you guys see that one? I got 100 and, well, I didn't, some of them are mine because I replied, but it says 161 comments. And you know what I did I went through that list. I hit on it, all my comments, and I went down the list. You guys can't see, but anyway, I wrote down the name of those people who commented, the names of people who commented that I don't see very much. I don't see their posts. They never comment on my posts, but they're seeing my stuff. I found out who's seeing it. So I wrote the names down of a lot of those people, and they are my new potentials. So that's where, I wasn't expecting that, but I thought, oh, she's watching. Oh, okay. I'm going to write her name down, and follow up and just see. And, they're my friends, but I don't communicate with them a lot, but this brought them to my attention. And that's what I see Plexus doing in my life. It gets me outside of myself and in, because I wouldn't even have, and I said something back to every single one of them. I wouldn't even be communicating with those people if it weren't that God brought Plexus into my life, and he's forcing me to get out there and to love on people, whether they do Plexus or not. I want to love on him, and he's bringing new names to me. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of talking. We have 8 minutes left. Do we want to stop early so Lisa and Sherry can get on with the party? Or does anyone else have anything to say?
We're gonna try to get Jackie and Jesse over here so I can actually meet them face to face. I haven't met them and they just live about a minute away.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh, how
And-
fun.
And Jacqueline Hicks too. And by the way, Jacqueline Hicks became silver last month.
I saw that. Tell
Yes.
her I miss seeing her at our meetings.
Yeah, we'll have to tell her.
I really like her. She's a sweetheart. So I didn't realize that Jesse and Jacqueline and Sherry were all together. Are you guys on each other's team? Did you bring them in?
Sherry brought Jesse in and Jesse brought Jacqueline in.
Awesome. Okay. It's fun to see the family line and how things are. So that means that Sherry is Jesse's mom.
Yeah,
And
and I'm old enough.
You're Jacqueline's grandma.
And I'm Sherry's mom.
Yeah, you
Well,
are.
not
That
quite.
makes you Jacqueline's great grandma.
It's a joy
No,
home.
I'm Jacqueline's. Yeah,
That's
Jacqueline's.
a joy home.
Great grandma, great grandma.
Oh, boy. Well,
Oh, goodness.
I have seen 3 chats. Lisa, oh, you might leave and try again. Okay, I'm just now getting to the chats. Emily, oh, squeeze. Yeah, Pammy was giving Emily a big squeeze. And yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm really bad at paying attention to the chats. So, but anyway, we're going to let you go, and you have a blessed time, every one of you together. I wish that I could be there with you, and I know Kay and Pam wish so too. Wouldn't that be a party? So you have,
Convention.
yeah, for sure. We're all,
I was just gonna say convention also.
yeah, we're excited. Let's get a picture. Can I have a picture? Okay, everybody, on the count of 3. We lost Rachel,
And Emily.
and Emily's gone. Oh, okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And Tracy appeared. I didn't even know you were here. I remember clicking on it, but I was talking at the time and I totally forgot you were even on. So I'm really glad you did that just in time.
I'm gonna try to learn how to co-host so I can help you
Yes,
with
me
paying
too.
attention
Oh,
to the.
please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
to the
See,
Zoom.
you're doing it already. Shorts would be proud.
Can you
Okay.
send us a copy of that picture, Michelle?
I
Post it in
will.
our Cluster Grow group or
Yes.
something.
Yes, I will. I will. Okay, it's good to see you guys. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.